8 points on 3 of 8 shooting, getting outplayed by Karl Malone, who had 12 at the end of the frame. And with Scottie Pippen still in the locker room to start the second quarter, Jordan had to turn it on. And
all right, welcome back to the show, everyone, and happy 23rd, everyone. I've been looking forward to this day. If you guys are new around here and you haven't been around for the 23rd or the 24th, here's what we do real quick. Quick summary. 23rd is Michael Jordan's day. I usually do back-to-back 2 Michael Jordan reactions on the 23rd. I'm not going to lie. Today, I'm going for a 3-peat. We'll see if I do it. We'll see if I can get it done. I'm not guaranteeing victory here, but I'm aiming for a 3-peat. We're going to go for 3. And then maybe tomorrow I'm going to go for 3 with Kobe. All right. So the 23rd, we celebrate Jordan around here. The 24th, we celebrate Kobe around here. You know, it kind of happened organically on accident. And because literally I was just reacting to a couple of Jordan videos. And they happened to both land on the 23rd. And this was a long time ago. Ever since then, it's kind of been like a holiday around here. And we since added on Kobe for the 24th. So anyways, that's the rundown of what you just clicked on, everyone. Glad to have you here. Welcome. Let's celebrate greatness together. This one, I got a lot of requests to check out. And I was intentionally saving it for the 23rd. This one is titled Michael Jordan's 1998 Game 6 Masterpiece. It's from a channel called Post 2K, and I'm going to link the video down below in the description for you all if you want to check it out. If you want to watch the original video without me, or you just want to go over and check out Post 2K's channel, it's in the description. You'll also see a list of channel members in there. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Guys, I think that's it. I'm ready to get the celebration started. What about you? Like the video if you haven't done it. I'd appreciate it. Anything else? So 1998 Game 6, we all know what this is. We all know what this one is. Hell, back in the day, I did a reaction to this whole game. I don't remember what happened to that video. It's somewhere buried in there, but that was fun. All right, let's do this. Here we go. This was... Yeah, guys, I have so much to say about this game. Let's do it.
when you think of Michael Jordan's greatest performance, which one comes to mind? The shot on Elo to win the series against the Cavs in '89? How about his iconic shrug game after hitting 6 threes in the first half of the '92 finals? Or is it his legendary flu game against the Jazz in the '97
That's
finals?
one of them.
I can go on forever. MJ owns a handful of the greatest performances in NBA history. But in my opinion, Game 6 of the 1998 finals against the Utah Jazz stands as his masterpiece.
I 100% agree. He carried the team on his back, who was like injured and exhausted, and he was exhausted himself. Yet he still found the willpower to carry the team. And in the end of the game, I mean, it was a slugfest of a game, but in the end of the game, he won it by free throws, driving to the hoop, a defensive stop, and then the clutchest shot of NBA history. It's Michael Jordan all wrapped up like in one package, and it's beautiful.
In a decade of complete and utter dominance, Jordan had a chance to do what no one has done in modern NBA history: capture a second three-peat and his 6th title in 8 years. But it wasn't gonna come easy. Despite being up 3-2 in the series, the pressure Jordan faced was suffocating. This was Chicago's last dance. Coach Phil Jackson was gone at the end of the season, and MJ's second retirement was looming. And to make matters worse, Scottie Pippen gets injured and leaves the court just minutes into Game 6.
Yep.
Everything was on MJ's shoulders. In this one game, Michael Jordan has a chance to do the impossible and solidify himself as the greatest to ever do it.
I mean, if there was ever a moment in Jordan's career where he could have laid down and died and said, I just don't have enough help right now, I can't do it, this would have been the time. But no, man, if you watch the whole game, like, you see this look in his eyes, like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I have to find a way to do this. And he did it, man. He's the ultimate winner, man. The ultimate champion.
The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th.
I might say the ultimate warrior for the old school wrestling fans. Let's do this, man. Let's do it. Happy 23rd, everyone.
It's been over a quarter century since MJ's historical Game 6. So much has happened in the NBA since. So to understand the importance, the stakes, the sheer magnitude of this game, we have to go back even further. A selfish scorer, just a dunker, the Pistons' punching bag, the guy with all the talent, but no rings. That was the label thrown onto Michael Jordan for the first 6 seasons of his NBA career.
Yep.
Until he shattered the narrative. In 1991, Mike and the Bulls finally broke through, capturing his first championship and finals MVP against the team of the 80s. And it marked the start of a new age in the NBA, the Jordan era.
It's like Magic says, like he was ready to they were ready to pass him the baton, and MJ was ready to take it, and Magic just says, and boy, did he take it and run with it. Like, yeah, he was ready. He was ready.
In 92, he proved that he wasn't just a one-hit wonder. He hit Portland with a shrug, back-to-back titles, back-to-back finals MVPs, and yet the man wanted more. In 1993, he did just that with his 3rd consecutive championship.
We're not here to talk about that.
If you will. A feat that Magic, Bird, Kareem, and many other greats weren't able to pull off. In fact, no team had won 3 straight championships since the Celtics in the 60s.
Yeah, since Bill Russell's.
Jordan was already cemented among the game's elite. And apparently, that was enough. At 30 years old, right smack in the middle of his prime, MJ retired from basketball for a multitude of reasons. And you probably know the story. He leaves the game, plays baseball for a little while, gets the itch to return to basketball, and just like that, he's back. Or in Michael's words, he made his return late in the 95 season, but his supporting cast just wasn't the same. The Bulls lost in the 2nd round to the Orlando Magic, and it set the stage for an incredible 1996 season.
Not just his supporting cast, MJ wasn't ready yet. He was like 17 games out of retirement. Like, yeah, it was.
In his first full year back, MJ captured his 4th MVP as Chicago went 72-10, the greatest record in history at the time. And like he never left, Jordan was back on the mountaintop to capture his 4th ring.
The crazy thing is like, yeah, he was on top of the mountain for those 3 years, went off and played baseball. And he didn't just get back up to the top of the mountain. He surpassed his previous level with having the greatest season of all time. Like, it's fairy tale stuff.
But to think the dude is satisfied would be crazy. In 97, he and the Bulls were poised for another run. And with a meeting against the Malone and Stockton-led Utah Jazz in the finals, MJ went into another dimension.
What is clutch? Define clutch. Yes, sir. You're looking at it.
At 3:30 this morning, Michael Jordan woke up with flu-like symptoms. He had a stomach ache and a headache, and he couldn't go back to sleep.
Once again, define clutch.
In games where he's either been hurt,
you're looking right at him.
Has been bad news for the opponent. They turn it around and send it to Pippen. Oh, by Jordan. Jordan trying to slip it, and then pull back and hit. Jordan fires for Pippen. Backing Hornacek. There's Jordan.
There it is. No excuses.
An iconic buzzer beater to beat Utah in Game 1, and with the series tied at 2, the man entered Game 5 crippled by the flu, or food poisoning. And he still snapped. 38 points, 7 boards, 5 dimes, and 3.
He still got it done on a defensive end too, you guys. Like, that's what's insane. He still got his 3 steals, 38 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Insanity. Well, the guy was dying out there on the court. Like, just absolutely. I look at him.
Steals in the win. He wasn't human. Jordan's greatness was truly unshakable now. Back-to-back titles, 5 and 7 years, and a 5th finals MVP. The NBA was at MJ's mercy, and another three-peat was officially on the horizon. But it didn't come without some pressure. Riding high off their 5th championship, Jordan and the Bulls got a reality check. Prior to the start of the 98 season, GM Jerry Krause told Phil Jackson that he can go 82-0 and he still won't return as coach the following season.
This will never get lived down. Never ever will be forgotten. This is always what we're going to remember Krause for.
The reason? Well, it's due to Jerry's fascination in starting a rebuild right in the middle of a dynasty. Once the news broke, Jordan made it clear that he won't play for anyone but Phil, hinting at retirement. Plus, the fact that he was in the final year of his contract made it official. This was the last dance for the Bulls' dynasty.
Stupid Bulls.
Like he has for most of his career, MJ used this as motivation. He averaged 28 points on the season and captured his 5th MVP. A great honor, but not the hardware he was looking for. In round 1 of the playoffs, the dude was scorching as he averaged 36 in a sweep over the Nets. And in round 2, Chicago
Playoff
flexed
mode.
their dominance, manhandling the Hornets in 5 to set up an Eastern Conference Finals face-off against Reggie Miller and the Pacers. Chicago came out firing as they won games 1 and 2, but on the road in Indy, the Pacers answered in game 3. And thanks to some late game heroics by Reggie Miller in game 4,
show to push.
This series is tied at 2.
Yeah,
The Bulls would
great
answer
series.
at home, and then Indiana did the same to force a do-or-die game 7. Just the second such game during the Bulls' dynasty.
Yep. I was going to say, that was the only other time it happened during their championship years. It was in New York. Only 2 game 7s.
But Jordan didn't flinch.
We're going to win game 7. I never make promises. I don't make promises to my wife, but we will win game 7.
It's a statement.
With the dynasty on the line, MJ stayed true to his word, pouring in 28 points to survive and keep the three-peat alive. Indiana pushed them to the edge, but their next opponent will be their greatest test, because they know them all too well. It was the rematch.
Yep.
Jordan and his Bulls up against a two-headed monster in Utah.
And I got to say, Utah was better this season, in my opinion. And the Bulls were not as good because of injuries and other things going on and exhaustion. So, yeah, I gave the advantage to Utah big time in this finals. 97, not so much.
Motivated by what happened last season. And Game 1 made that clear. Despite a 33-point outburst from MJ, the Jazz managed to escape with a 3-point overtime win to get one step closer to revenge. But bad news for them, Jordan took that loss personally. In Game 2, the man lit Utah's building on fire with a 37-point nuke, including 13 of those in the fourth quarter, as the Bulls are headed back to Chicago with the series tied.
And mind you guys, the Utah Jazz had a better record, so they had home court advantage.
And it was home sweet home in Game 3 as they embarrassed the Jazz in a 42-point massacre.
Yep.
Yes, the largest winning margin in NBA Finals history.
I was just going to ask if it still is.
And Chicago goes up 2-1.
Crazy.
With a chance to go up 3-1, Mike was electric once again with 34 points, including another double-digit fourth quarter. And for the second year in a row, they've put Utah on the brink of elimination. MJ can taste the champagne, but it would have to wait. Karl Malone was a wrecking ball in Game 5, smashing the Bulls for 39-9-5 in the win to avoid elimination, pushing the series back to Utah for a Game 6. Jordan and the Bulls had a golden opportunity to clinch the three-peat at home. Instead, they now face a daunting Game 6 and potential Game 7 on the road. The pressure was mounting. A Game 7 with an older, injured, worn-down Bulls team is not ideal. It had to end now. MJ has to get his 6th in 6.
Yo, real quick, if you guys aren't subscribed to Post 2K, like, y'all might want to consider it. Like, this feels like something like right off of Netflix or something.
MJ and the Bulls are back in Utah looking to put an end to this series and cap off their dynasty with a 6th and final championship. And as if the pressure on Jordan wasn't already sky high, it hit its peak just minutes into Game 6. On the first play of the night, Pippen throws down a two-handed slam and immediately grimaces.
Yep.
Scottie had been dealing with a back issue throughout the series, and this dunk completely handicapped him, putting an even bigger burden on Jordan. At the 7-minute mark, the man announces his arrival with a patented fadeaway over Stockton for his first bucket of the game. And just a minute later, he extends his range out to the left wing, lacing a triple to put Chicago up 7. MJ was starting to get a feel for the game, but right as he was, it went south. Laboring with that
I'm going to be real, rewatching it, you could tell Jordan's exhausted because he comes up short on a lot of shots until the end when it really mattered. You think Phil Jackson for that one too. Phil Jackson reminded him about the follow through when you're exhausted and then wait till the last shot.
Injury, Pippen heads back to the locker room at the 5-minute mark of the first quarter, officially leaving Jordan all by his lonesome. He'd finished the quarter with a hezzy pull-up in Brian Russell's grill to tie it at 22. But other than that, it wasn't very pretty. 8 points on 3 of 8 shooting, getting outplayed by Karl Malone, who had 12 at the end of the frame. And with Scottie Pippen still in the locker room to start the second quarter, Jordan had to turn it on.
I'm not gonna lie, back when I watched this the first time, this was like Mission Impossible. I thought the Bulls were gonna lose this series. I really did. I mean, I was so used to and spoiled by Jordan's just heroics, but at this point, it was like, this is just not fair. You know, the deck is so stacked against him in this game that there's no way in hell he can come back and win. And then the way Scottie was looking, no way he'll be there for Game 7. So it's I still can't believe the way this went down.
I think he sensed it.
Jordan, daylight for 3.
Nice sound effect.
Jordan wheels inside around Anderson. Michael springs free and takes the lob from Kukoc.
Yeah, I agree. Jordan knew this was.
There's his answer.
If I from watching at home knew this was a do or die game,
he's got 21.
For sure MJ knew.
Jordan's the guy they want.
This is his best
Even
chance
more
to
so
win.
than usual, and that's why.
That's a disgusting fade.
Nasty footwork in the paint, a long-range triple, a lob at the cup, another 3 from the right wing, a tough jumper, and then another fadeaway to mark his 6th straight field goal made in this quarter. MJ was an inferno. Even at 35 years old, lacking some of the athleticism he used to have, the man was still able to take over games with his assassin-like shot making.
Absolutely.
But despite his sizzling 15-point second quarter to give him 23 at halftime, the Bulls still found themselves down 4. They needed a spark, and at the beginning of the third quarter, they got just that. Pippen was back for the start of the period, but you can tell he wasn't 100%. The dude was going to be a decoy out there.
Yes, he was.
At the 8-minute mark of the third, Jordan swishes home a midi to get Chicago within 4. But that wasn't the talking point of the quarter. Just minutes later, tempers start to flare as Malone and Rodman get into some sort of wrestling match. And as that's going on, at the other
it's like
end
they were promoting their actual wrestling match, you know?
of the court, Brian Russell and MJ give each other a shot. Russell's pissed, but Mike is unfazed. He's got something in store for him a little bit later.
Open.
He already did it to him in
On the next
97.
possession, Michael goes right at Russell and loses him with a filthy shimmy into a right shoulder fadeaway,
Yeah,
and
that's
it's
disgusting.
butter to put him up to 27 points on the night.
Poor Russell, he only talked trash to MJ once, and he got punished in 2 NBA finals.
But coming off his heater of a second quarter, the third was pretty underwhelming. Sitting at a solid 29 on the night, he put in just 6 in the frame on 2 for 6 shooting.
Yeah, that's when I was like, dude, this guy is completely exhausted. Like, he's just... If I remember correctly, he was hitting a lot of front rim at that point.
And 2 for 4 at the line. Fatigue seemed to be playing.
That tells you a big story. MJ is not a 50% shooter from the free throw line, not at all.
A serious factor. I mean, for context, the dude is in a deep postseason run for the 3rd straight season, and he hasn't missed a single game, regular season or playoffs, since he returned from retirement.
That's insane.
The sheer amount of miles on his legs seemed to be catching up to him. So, considering his fatigue and Scotty's injury, MJ can't allow this series to go 7. It has to end now.
Yeah, so all those guys talking about not playing back-to-backs and all this load managing stuff, how come MJ was able to do it? You know, he was doing it in his mid-30s too. All 82 games, every game in the playoffs, he didn't miss a damn game. He showed up. Always showed up for his team and his fans. Fourth quarter, let's do it.
To start the fourth quarter, he drives and fades off the block for a wet jumper to put him up to 33 points. His reaction? Ice cold. It's time to kill.
Yep.
A couple minutes later, he knocks down 2 free throws to get within 1, and on the very next possession, he finds his sweet spot in the mid-range and fills up the cup to give Chicago the lead, shooting his total up to 37 points.
Jesus.
The clutch god was showing out. Then he disappeared. Midway through the quarter, MJ went cold.
There it is,
missing
front of the rim.
3 field goals within a minute.
Front of the rim.
All of which were short.
Yep.
A telltale sign that a player is fatigued since he can't get enough elevation on his jumper.
As we always just say, he's got no legs. Got no legs.
This was worrisome.
He's exhausted.
At the 3-minute mark, Mike launches a 3 and he's short yet again. Utah comes back down and Malone flares for a wide open jumper to put the Jazz up 4 with 2 minutes to go.
Just think, if he goes to the bench, the scoring basically stops for Chicago. You know, so he's encouraged to just stay out there and tough it out. That way they can at least keep the game close until the very end. And then we'll see if he can come up with some heroics at the end.
It looked like this one was slipping through the Bulls' hands. Jordan has to dig deep. Off the Malone bucket, MJ comes back and attacks the rim. Brian Russell fouls him, and he catches his breath at the free throw line as he drains both shots to get Chicago within 2. Moments later, he relentlessly attacks the rim again, gets fouled again, and as he shoots these massively clutch free throws with 59 seconds to go, Dennis Rodman is so confident that he's gonna make them.
I love this. I love this. This is pure confidence in your leader.
That he turns away from the rim and is talking to fans as Michael laces them. The game is tied at 83. The Jazz make their way down the court and Stockton finds a weak spot in the defense. Karl Malone dots him out of the post. He lines up the seams and splashes a monster 3 to put Utah up with 41 seconds.
Yeah, that's a huge freaking shot by Stockton right there.
Remaining. A heart stopper. Chicago calls timeout and a game 7 is less than a minute away. It was a 3-pointer that seemed to force Jordan and the Bulls into an inevitable game 7 in Utah.
And mind you, Scotty has confirmed by saying recently that if there was a game 7, there's no way he could have played. So, like, this was really do or die.
But in reality, it set into motion a series of events that led to the crowning jewel of the Bulls' dynasty. Running on fumes with whatever energy he has left in the final 41 seconds, Michael Jordan, like he has his entire career, delivered with the single greatest sequence in sports history.
Michael working on Russell.
There we go. Got the layup.
Brings them to within 1.
They scored within 4 seconds there.
So that's young Jordan penetrate to the basket.
Pressure on the Jazz to score once again.
And then by 88,
43.
Jordan's known for what? Defense, baby.
Is doubled. They swat at it and steal it. Here comes Chicago.
What else is MJ known for?
17 seconds from game 7 or from championship number 6.
This is great.
Jordan.
Oopsie.
Open.
Bang.
With the lead.
Michael Jordan, baby.
Timeout, Utah. 5.2 seconds left. Michael Jordan running on fumes with 45 points.
No excuses.
If this was in a movie, you wouldn't believe it. The greatest player in the history of the game with the ball down by 1 breaks his defender's ankles and perfectly swishes home the jumper to get his team 5 seconds away from their second three-peat and 6th championship in 8 years.
It's true. I always wanted a basketball movie that was like Rocky or Karate Kid, like that formula. Little did I realize, though, I watched it in real life. Screw the movie.
But it wasn't just the shot either. It was the tough banker off glass into a crucial steal on the opposing team's best player that led to the iconic shot.
That defensive stop won the game as much as the shot did. One doesn't exist without the other. The opportunity for the shot doesn't exist if he didn't get that stop. So really, that's what won the game. And then, what can I say? His layup won the game, his defensive stop won the game, and his jumper won the game. The guy literally just took the Bulls to victory lane, and they all went along for the ride, and it's crazy. It's crazy. And then afterwards, he's going to talk about how great his team is.
It was absolute perfection. In the final 41 seconds, no other player on the Bulls touched the ball. It was all MJ.
Yeah.
With all the pressure of this being the last gasp of Chicago's dynasty and Jordan's final moments in a Bulls uniform, he sealed it in storybook fashion with his 45th point of the night.
For those of you who get it, you get it. If you were there for the 3-6-9s.
It is, in my opinion, the greatest moment in the history of basketball. But I must mention that there's still 5 seconds left. Utah's coming out of their timeout down by 1. One shot can send this series to a 7th game. Either we're going 7, or Michael Jordan's final moment in a Chicago uniform is a masterpiece.
Stockton. Harper's on him. Behind the screen. Harper got a piece of it.
Yeah, that was a scary look because that was a good shot.
Chicago Bulls have won their 6th.
Imagine how good that must have felt for him.
And it's their second three-peat.
Imagine it.
Maybe it's my fault. Maybe I led you to believe it was easy when it wasn't. Maybe I made you think my highlights started at the free throw line and not in the gym. Maybe I made you think that every shot I took was a game winner, that my game was built on flash and not fire. Maybe it's my fault that you didn't see that failure gave me strength.
Yes.
That my pain was my motivation. Maybe I led you to believe that basketball was a God-given gift and not something I worked for every single day of my life. Maybe I destroyed the game. Or maybe
you're just making
excuses.
Jordan, open.
Yeah, LeBron. Y'all, you should listen to that, LeBron. Like just listen.
Championship. Chicago Bulls have won the NBA championship for the second straight.
That's what the GOAT sounds like.
3 straight NBA championships. The Chicago Bulls.
Randy Brown, get out of there.
The 86 NBA championship.
What a video.
Their 5th championship in the last 7 years.
The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship, and it's their second three-peat.
1998 NBA Finals MVP, Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan's masterpiece indeed. Hell, this might be your masterpiece, Post. Hey, man, guys, thank you for the suggestion. What a perfect video to start off the 23rd. Wow. I don't even know what to say. Like, I think about like 2016, right? And I think about that Cleveland win. And to me, like, it would be this game that we just witnessed here would be the equivalent of, at the end, if LeBron got the block, and then instead of Kyrie hitting that big jumper, LeBron hit the jumper, and then the final possession at the other end of the court, when Steph was going ISO, instead of Kevin Love stopping, getting the defensive stop, it was LeBron. You know what I mean? Like, that's how much you'd have to do to be like, yeah, that's a GOAT-like performance. You know why? Because Jordan set the standard so high, and this is the proof. You know, things go beyond 6-0 in the finals. Things go way beyond that when we're talking about the GOAT. Wins are cool, but how did you do it? You know, like, what did you need to go through in order to accomplish those wins? And how much did you contribute? And I never seen someone contribute more than Michael Jordan did in this final game. Like to contribute to a win all the way at the end. Like you said, the last 40 some odd seconds, Jordan was the only bull to touch the ball. And he got it done on defense and on offense. What else is there to say? You know, that's when a guy just completely takes over, puts the team on his back and says, we're going to do this, you know? We're going to do it. Just follow me. We're going to make it. That's a true leader. That's a true GOAT. That's a true great. And until I see somebody else do stuff like this on a regular, Jordan's on top of my list, and there's no questioning it whatsoever for me. Anyways, you guys, that's our first championship. We got to see if we can win 2 more in a row, to get up to Jordan's level. So I'm gonna head out. Let me know what you thought about it, guys. This was a great video by Post2K. So remember, the link is down below if you guys want to check it out. I highly recommend it. Damn, this video was good. A couple of you suggested that I save this for the 23rd. Shout out to you guys. Brilliant idea. That's it, you guys. I'll come back with another one in a little bit. And yeah, like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this. Hit that bell if you want to get notified for the next 2 coming. And yeah, guys, be water, my friends.